Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 4, Aston Villa 2. By God, does it feel good to actually score some goals? Win a game by more than one. It's a good feeling, but a game of two halves, if I say so. It was probably one of the most boring first halves of football, and a really exciting second half. But I don't really know why it takes so long or takes a moment from the opposition team, them scoring or creating loads of chances for us to actually kind of, get a big kick up the bum. It's all things we're going to discuss. We're going to talk, kind of a little bit about Dalot, a little bit about Donny van der Beek, because again, there's a discussion to be had there. Just me and Kev for the meantime today. Unfortunately, I think availability was slim, but you're stuck with us. So, yeah, Kev, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Like you say, it seems very, very strange to score so many goals, and never a truer word said in the fact that it is a game of two halves. Because I mean, at half time, I'm juggling towards. I'm looking. I'm thinking the jungle's kicking off very shortly. At 9 o'clock. Do I watch United the second half, or potentially do I watch the likes of Matt Hancock? Eating a kangaroo penis or something, and I'm thinking that appeals more to me at the minute. And no, Manchester, I stuck with the United game, so I'm glad. We got a flurry of goals. Yes, we had to wait for a reaction going 1-0 behind, but that's what it's all about. And we are in the hat for the draw for the next round, which will be coming up very shortly. I'm looking forward to reacting to that live as well.
Yeah, we got the draw coming. I think it starts in about 6 minutes time, so at 10:30. So we'll be having a reaction just the same as obviously you guys will as well. So yeah, hopefully we just don't draw Man City. Right? It'll be very difficult to obviously go. Yeah, it's rigged. It's rigged. We're going to, but yeah, we do have a Q&A towards the end. With the last kind of 15-20 minutes, we'll be doing a Q&A as well, guys. So if you want to get your questions in towards the end, kind of whatever, and we'll answer away. Doesn't have to be a super chat; can just be any old waffle, and we will do our best to answer it. But I want to start off, Kev, talking a little bit about Dalot, and not necessarily in terms of his performance or anything. Obviously, unfortunately, he did score an own goal, kind of deflective. It's a difficult one, but surely he needs a rest. I was almost shocked to see that he wasn't rested. Don't really care whoever plays there, whether you did throw Wan-Bissaka in, whether Lindelof played out there, and therefore Martinez played centre half. Like, if he's not going to get a rest in the Carabao Cup third round, like when is he going to get a rest?
That's the thing. You look at that game tonight. I must say I was surprised, and I'm looking at Dalot and thinking, God, we've spoke about before on here. The lad definitely needs a rest. To throw him in today, you can tell, when a player is certainly low on kind of energy and that. Yes, the own goal, we can pick the bones off that and that. But I do look at it and I think he could have mixed it up. Yes, Malacia deserves to be in that team today. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Brings energy to the team. He's very tenacious. But yeah, Dalot, he could have mixed it up. Maybe you play Luke Shaw at left back. I don't necessarily think he needs a rest. He's got back into the team. You could have played Malacia on the right, if you want to look at it like that. And Dalot, he does not have competition for his place at the minute. He is one of the first names on the team sheet. He's going to be starting. He needs a rest. And I think that's shown in the performance this evening. I'm not saying we've got away with it. I think on reflection of the full game, Manchester United thoroughly deserve to win it. It's the worrying thing is that the fact you have to wait for a reaction. It's like we had to wait to go 1-0 down. And then what does it take us? 19 seconds, to equalise. That must be some kind of record, man. I'm thinking, what's in these players' heads, it must have been like, right, we're in a game now. We need to kick in. We need to get back into this. And more or less straight away, we're back in it. And it gets the crowd behind you, doesn't it? More than anything, the crowd are behind you. And from that moment on, you just sense some things at Old Trafford. We had the chances. It looked like we could cut them open at any time. And any time that kind of long ball went through, I think it was only a matter of time before somebody took the chance. So, and we've done that this evening. For me, it's job done, you know. And don't get me wrong, if anything, I would have exchanged crashing out the Carabao Cup tonight to take the 3 points in the league fixture back there on Sunday. You know, when you look at it like that. And then what does that say about the Carabao Cup? You know, it is, a lot of people do sort of talk down on it. But listen, a good cup run for this team. So some of these players haven't won trophies at Manchester United. Could be a really, really good thing. It breeds confidence. A day out at Wembley, you know, if we could lift silverware, be it's not the one that you set out to start the season to win, but if we could get ourselves in the mix, it's a great start. It'd be a great start for Erik ten Hag. I'm not saying it's the most prestigious trophy in the world, but it's a springboard. You could use it as a springboard, mate.
Yeah, it's definitely a confidence builder, right, as you say. But the comments actually are saying that Dalot's actually suspended for the Fulham game. I completely forgot. So, I mean, there's his rest, right? Maybe that's obviously why he did play tonight. But yeah, the draw, everyone's just spamming draw time. We know the draw is coming in literally a minute, and we'll be reacting just the same as you guys will. But kind of developing on the Dalot thing, does this, because we can't necessarily afford to give him a rest, right? The rest that he's having is a forced rest. Surely that shows that it's such a position that we need to strengthen, or, you know, just add that strength in depth, because Ten Hag obviously doesn't trust Wan-Bissaka. I know he's been allegedly injured. I don't really trust that, in all honesty. I just don't think he trusts his abilities, whether that is I'm going to say more in the attacking sense, because we know that one-on-one Wan-Bissaka is very, very talented. But yeah, surely upon reflection, you know, Ten Hag has just got to be banging on, you know, the Glazers' door saying, just give me 20 million in January to go out there and get another right back. Because if Dalot somehow manages to go, obviously this period of time, then the World Cup, and then afterwards with no injuries, then the geezer must be a robot, surely.
Yeah. Well, let's look at this another way. I mean, one thing that screams out this evening, and we spoke about it against Villa in the league game, is that we are thin on the bones when it comes to talking about squad depth. You look at teams like, say, Manchester City last evening, what they are able to do and rotate a team, and it doesn't really make much difference to the outcome. Now, when it comes to Manchester United, I'm sure you were the same, and any Manchester United fan in the comments, when you see Fred and McTominay in midfield, it's kind of a throwback to the old days. And I'll go back to my analogy of, literally, it is like going from 5G super fast optic broadband in Casemiro and Eriksen to going back to dial-up, where you're messing about, you know, nothing's loading up, you know, that noise and all that, and you can't get a connection. And it was like going back to that. And I think, oh my word, you know, this is our backup midfield. And again, you look at the bench today. Yes, you know, that there was players there to pick out and come on and change the game. But when you look at the actual strength of the squad, that there is serious work for Erik ten Hag to do. There's no doubt he's got the players in he can trust, the likes of Martinez, the likes of Anthony, Malacia, Eriksen, and they've all been fantastic signings for Manchester United, which has been a breath of fresh air. Because when you look at the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signings, the likes of Harry Maguire, who was on the pitch this evening, I don't think he's done himself any kind of favours. You know, you wouldn't look at that Fulham game this weekend and think Harry Maguire's stepped up there, he needs to be in. The guy is shot of confidence. Yes, he's been included in the England squad today, but I mean, if anyone can argue with me and say that Harry Maguire deserves to be in that England squad purely on performance, you know, the guy's not even been starting for Manchester United. Why? How is he possibly in that squad? And there's a lot of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signings, like you say, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is another. Ten Hag will not fancy him one bit, because Diego Dalot has showed so much to Ten Hag. You know, he has showed everything. He's got a willingness to learn. He has he's just developed. He has developed as a
okay.
player. But there is no doubt, mate, that we are thin on the bones. We need to be strengthening. And that will come with time. That's why this word, it's kind of a thing, it's thrown around easily, but it's a process. You know, we heard this with Arteta at Arsenal. It will be the same with Erik ten Hag. He'll want the players he can trust. We're getting a system. We are getting a style of play. And once all that clicks in together, it will be very easy to bring these players in. And I go back to Manchester City there, you know, that they are able to bring these players in. And because they have a system and a style of play, they can do that. At Manchester United, we are working at that at the minute. And once all that clicks together, it should be happy times. It should be.
You very much hope so. But Barima says here, I know 10 Hugs doesn't have many options, but McFred should be nowhere near the centre midfield area. Play them up front after the 70th minute. And I actually saw on Twitter, to be fair, quite a lot that we should actually be lobbing McTominay up front if we ever need a goal instead of Maguire, because he seems to be that big lump. But a lot of people saying in the chat as well that Liverpool have just drawn City in the next round of the Carabao Cup, so we can't get either of them. I'm not obviously there's Brighton who's in it as well. I think Blackburn are in it as well. Are they? I'm not too familiar with the other teams, but I'm sure we'll be out the hat very, very shortly. But kind of what else I had written down for the first half. It wasn't much, but there was 3 words, and it's Fred is shit, because he is. He just, and it is so odd, because I think, in my opinion, when Ten Hag brings him on with maybe 15, 20 minutes to go, and I don't know if this is maybe because he doesn't have enough time to showcase how bad he actually is in that time, but when he plays for a long period of time, you truly do see how bad this guy is at football. Because, and I said this before we went live, there was a situation where I think Malacia passed the ball to him. It was fine. It was a 10-yard pass along the ground. And Fred has somehow managed to make his first touch, the ball bounce in the air twice, and then he's kicked the ball out for a corner. For a goal kick. Like, you know, trying to cross the ball. But it's just how I just don't understand how he fits in. I understand people say he has this tenacity, and I feel like almost people are looking for avenues of like, yeah, he's good for this reason. But I just, honestly, we could play with 10 men, and I think we do better off, I think, sometimes, because he just takes too long. There's also another incident where he played the ball through to Rashford, and he was offside, but it's just, he takes too many touches before playing the ball to him, and Rashford's got the pace to stay on side and still beat a man. So I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on Fred, but I mean, little Normie saying here, draw on, lads. We do know the draw is on. We have said a couple of times now that we are waiting for along with you guys. But yeah, Fred, what do you think on his performance? Obviously, he came off after, I don't know, there was maybe 10, 15 minutes left, but I don't think he had a very good game.
Oh, Pastor Fred. I can't even say he's really hot and cold. I mean, he is. I really don't get him. I do not understand him. And I think the one thing that screams out at the minute is the fact that we've signed an absolute top draw player in Casemiro, that now we're that used to seeing Casemiro, or Clasimiro as we like to call him here on the United stand, that he's been that good that when you see Fred trying to fill in for him, you can tell they are chalk and cheese. They are absolutely worlds apart, a different league. And there's people that subscribe to that theory, that the fact that they both play together for Brazil, that they could do a job for Manchester United. But personally, I don't see that. An Eriksen and Casemiro combination is totally different to a Fred and Casemiro combination. It's just worlds apart, man. You've got Casemiro, who can do the job of McTominay and Fred in one. So then that frees you up to play an Eriksen, who is basically your ball-playing midfielder, can sit in, can spray passes, can get forward. As an attacking threat, he's absolutely brilliant. He's been sensational for United. Fred is one of them players, sadly, who, without sounding too harsh, he's surplus to requirement at Manchester United. I don't think he's ever been required at Manchester United. It's terribly harsh, but listen, you have to go off what you see at Manchester United and how this guy performs in a Manchester United shirt. And I've not seen much. I see a lot of willingness from Man United fans. I've been one of them. You want him to do well. He seems like a nice character, but I'm sure we'll get onto Donny van der Beek as well. But I'm going to say, he seems a nice character. Is that what you want? The total flip side of that is your Lisandro Martinez. How long was he on the field today? And, he causes all kinds of havoc and he's absolutely brilliant. So you don't have to be this kind of nice character. Martinez uses that absolutely brilliantly. The brutality, the way he just conducts himself on the pitch and goes round. It's kind of the fear factor. Maybe Fred needs to bring that into his game, but you can't, you either have that or you don't. A kind of Roy Keane warrior type style player. That was bred in it. That was his personality. Go on, Charlie. I know you've got the draw for me.
Yeah, come on, Jeff. So we've been drawn against Burnley. big Burnley. Vincent Kompany, obviously manager of them now, so kind of a City link there. But I mean that's it's better than a City or a Liverpool. But we can quickly run through just a few of the other games as well. Wolves, Gillingham, Southampton, Lincoln, Blackburn, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Burnley, MK Dons, Leicester, Charlton versus Brighton. I'm not sure if that is the complete. Yeah, that is the completed draw, I believe. But United versus Burnley, Carabao Cup, 4th round. What do we think? Good draw, right?
I know one thing that there is a kind of feeling that Manchester City in cup competitions certainly get an easy ride. So I think this season it's certainly what have they faced? Chelsea last night. Not an easy draw on paper. Yes, it was at the Etihad, and now they've got Liverpool is that at the Etihad or is it Anfield?
It is yes.
At the Etihad.
Yes.
Right. So it's still a tough game for them. I suppose it does throw that little fairy out for this season. But the thing you have to look at here now, yes, Vincent Kompany and all that, whatever. He's got the links to Manchester City, Burnley. Manchester United, man. I sound like Gary Neville here, but we should be beating them. We should be good enough, man for man, in a one-off game to beat Burnley. And then we know that one of that lot are going out in Manchester City or Liverpool. So whoever that is, happy days. One of them are gone. And then we're moving into the next round. You look at the teams that are left in it, and we're starting to get to the business end of the competition, which makes it very, very interesting. Look at the big guns, the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham, that have all crashed out last night. Was it West Ham go out as well? A lot of Premier League teams have actually gone out. So it does open this up. At the same time, this is Burnley's cup final, isn't it? This is exactly what they would have wanted.
This is the thing. I actually completely forgot that Burnley aren't even in the Premier League anymore. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. I nearly said, oh, it's still a Premier League team, but they're not. And a lot of people in the comments as well are relating to there's the famous clip of Mark, isn't there, playing FIFA career mode and slagging off Burnley, and then they go and score. I think it is. So a lot of people are having a little giggle about that, but. Yeah, I mean, look, we are at home, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, we are at home. So again, it's that's a big positive. I do think we definitely, when the fans get behind us, we do definitely play better. It's the 12th man type saying. I do really think, but it'll be interesting. I'm not sure when the games are being played. Obviously, it will be probably early January, maybe.
Possibly.
But the January schedule is going to be bloody. I mean, there's going to be injuries left, right, and centre. There's, again, Charlie, 3 games a week. Yeah,
and I am taking it that the famous Goldbridge saying is it's bloody Burnley. Because I'm seeing so many comments of that, and I was thinking, there can't be that many people saying it's bloody Burnley. That must be what it is. They're ripping out.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, look, to kind of round off the Carabao Cup draw, I mean, well, I guess we can actually elaborate on it a little bit. Going off of that draw, obviously, as you say, Man City or Liverpool, one of them is going to be exiting the tournament, and then you're looking at, on paper, the next toughest team. Obviously, let's say Man City does win that game. The next toughest team is Newcastle, maybe. You've got Leicester in there as well. Brighton, maybe on their day, obviously are a good side. We got battered by them, but you know, a lot of people obviously saying before this game, happy to write you know, the Carabao Cup off, etc., to ease the fixture schedule. But do you think should we beat Burnley, it's now, is it time to possibly, you know, why not? Let's possibly go for it now with the teams, as you say, Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, the bigger names exiting. Is it something that we should possibly look at? You know, I mean, we're here. Why not go for it now?
I think we should. As I said earlier, right, it's not the most prestigious of trophies. And at the start of the season, when you're like, what would you like to win? Obviously, the Premier League, the Champions League. Well, we're not in it this season, but I'm talking in past seasons. These would have been the main trophies. Yes, the FA Cup, and down the bottom would be the Carabao Cup, or the League Cup as we call it. This is a great opportunity, and it was one of the things that annoyed me when we went out of the Carabao Cup under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because I always felt that if we could have got that first trophy, you do use it as a springboard, and it would be a huge thing for Manchester United. You know, we've gone seasons here without silverware. Again, I'm not bigging this trophy up, but I'm just saying, for a group of players, and when you look back at past managers, you know, this was Guardiola's first trophy at Manchester City. It was Jose Mourinho's first trophy when he was manager at Chelsea. So they certainly used it as some kind of springboard for their team and success to build on. You know, it is infectious when you get a group of players and they get that first win, be it the Carabao Cup. It's still, you get them players there, and that's where you get the desire. You get these players then that go, you know, God, if this is what it's like to win the Carabao Cup, imagine we win the Premier League, imagine we win the FA Cup, you know, and you build on that then. And that's exactly the mentality that has been lost at Manchester United. We don't have that winning mentality. Yes, we've got players in the squad, the likes of Varane, Casemiro, that have won Champions League, World Cups or whatever respectively. But there's a hell of a lot of players there that need to get over the line and taste that day out at Wembley, be it again the Carabao Cup, but to get that trophy and then to be able to build on that would be a huge thing. I really do think it was. And I said that when Solskjaer was in charge at United, and I was devastated when we went out the Carabao Cup then for that reason. And then after that, the season kind of collapses. But a good cup run would do Manchester United good, and it's good for the supporters. It is a day out. Look at it. You're not telling me Newcastle there. Any Newcastle fan is going to go, I can't be bothered out with a day out at Wembley, man. You know, when's the last time? I know that was a terrible Geordie accent.
Don't do that ever again.
I'll never do that again. We'll just pretend that never happened. Don't clip it up. But yeah, you know, Newcastle fans would love to win a trophy like that. The same as Spurs crashing out last night. When's the last time they won a trophy? They would love to do that, and that's where we are at the minute. Yeah,
I forgot about Spurs as well, to be fair. But does the Carabao Cup automatically qualify you for anything? Do you qualify for like a tournament, or is it not one of them ones? Because imagine it automatically qualified you for like the Conference League or something. That might you see like Charlton in the Conference League. It would be funny. But Abdullah says, would you give Iqbal a chance ahead of Donny now? Now this is something we can discuss. As we said, we did want to touch a little bit on Donny van der Beek. Frode Hammersland, I'm not sure if you were meant to put a super chat in, but I appreciate the super chat nonetheless, my friend. Find this last one here from Delicate Official. It is the perfect competition to learn how to win something. The chokes by this team in the past have to be surmounted. Great opportunity. Yeah, we agree with you. That's obviously kind of what we're talking about, right? Is do we now get to a point where it is kind of go for it? Because I mean, it's one of them situations where if we would have lost tonight, it's kind of like, oh well, whatever. We didn't want it anyway. You can have it. But now we've won, and it was a much better second half. And you see the teams that have gone out of it, and now you see in retrospect that Liverpool, Man City have got to play each other. It's like, well, we're here now, so might as well give it a go. But on to Donny van der Beek. Now, an interesting statistic is Dubravka actually completed more passes in the first half than Donny van der Beek did. So I'm going to say, as whatever role he was playing tonight, obviously in the midfield, as a midfielder, you're meant to receive the ball, pass it on. I'm going to say when your goalkeeper completes more passes in 45 minutes, it's not a good sign. The whole ghost mode activated, as Jordan likes to say. And I believe he actually messaged you before the show, didn't he? Saying, send a message to the Donny fan club.
I have the message here from Mr. Jordan the Valleys. He said he's listening from New York. So nice, fair play. He said, tell Donny FC, I said he showed nothing again. And how many more chances do we need to give him? So he's... Listen, Charlie, what Jordan said that night, and I was quite quick to hit back and say, he hasn't had a run of games. I know you threw your little statistic in. What was it? He's played 56, or was it roughly that game?
It might even be like 58 now, so it's only getting worse.
and then you look at it and think, how many of them games are starts? How many has he come on as subs? Is that full games? So again, I'm trying to stick up for Donny van der Beek. I did say, if he was given a run of games in the team, let's judge him on that. He hasn't had much of a chance. Now, he has had a couple of games. And from what I've seen, these managers, we've had a couple of managers in charge of Manchester United, in Solskjaer and in Erik ten Hag, who for some reason have not shown much faith in him. And you maybe start to look at that. You look at the performances on the field and maybe think, well, maybe there is a reason that he's not been getting into this team. And you do have to look at what he's offering to the team. And I was quite disappointed, I must say, for somebody in myself who stuck up for him and said, we need to give him game time. We need to give him a run of games. Listen, it might take a couple of more games before he gets into the swing of it. The bad thing for Donny van der Beek is timing. And at Manchester United, you don't get much of that. And we go into a huge game at the weekend against Fulham on the back of a defeat against Villa in the league. And it almost becomes must win, if we want to finish in the top four. So it's like, you can't really mess around with your team too much. So Ten Hag then will dip back into his team, and it'll be the players that he trusts, the ones he knows he can get over the line. Can he afford to go with Donny van der Beek and give him another chance in what is a big game against Fulham? We do need the 3 points, because we know the likes of Liverpool are starting to pick up now. And if we want to get into the top four, can we afford to mess about? But overall, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed in him this evening. I thought it was a great chance for him.
Yeah, I think the word disappointment, kind of sums his Manchester United tenure up, really. I think this is the third season or something he's been with us. So yeah, I think disappointed's a pretty good word for him. And I see it. Look, a lot of comments are saying, compare his stats to Fred and all this, but I mean, look, Fred and Donny are very different. They play different types of roles within the team and that anyway. And I mean, look, Donny van der Beek's still a better footballer than Fred is, right? I don't think I'm not disagreeing over that. It's just when he is given that chance, for me, he's just not kind of grabbing it with two hands. I feel like he could show a lot more, for me, is the main thing. But not to get too down.
The thing is, Charlie, if anybody, and again, at the start of the season when Erik ten Hag takes over, I mean, a lot of us were like, free Donny, Donny's going to be released. If Erik ten Hag cannot get the best out of Donny van der Beek, And he did at Ajax. You know, you think of that great Ajax team with De Jong and Donny van der Beek in it. It was a fantastic team. It functioned so well. And Van der Beek was pivotal. He was a major cog in that system. Now, if he now at Manchester United cannot get the best out of him, where does that leave you? Because you kind of start, there's so many questions, and you think, well, bloody hell, you know, Ten Hag's come to Manchester United. Donny van der Beek must have been buzzing and thinking, this is my old manager. He's got faith in me. That gives him a lift. But again, from what you're seeing, and maybe it is he needs a run of games, but again, I go back to the point, you are not going to get that at Manchester United unless you perform, and we've seen it. And even you look at the left-back position, Malacia was absolutely fantastic, and he's pushed Luke Shaw, and the minute Malacia drops out that team just a little bit, Luke Shaw, bang, he's in the team 4 or 5 games. Malacia, you know, cannot get in that team, and that's what we want. We do want competition for places at United, but in that area, Van der Beek is going to find it very, very difficult to get in. He needs to impress on the field.
That's the thing as well. And you look at today, obviously, Ten Hag has put Bruno out on that right-hand side. One, because obviously he's trusting Bruno can play that position, and in that still giving Donny the chance to you know, play in the whatever role he was doing today, 10, 8, etc. I just feel like he can offer a lot more than what he has, in all honesty. He's such a well-liked player within, you know, the fan base and everything. And I think that's why it kind of divides opinion. And, you know, as soon as you say a bad word about, I mean, we know with Ronaldo FC, don't we? As soon as you say a bad word about a player, that means you automatically hate them and want them to leave Manchester United. But moving on, I think the main thing which I got from both halves combined was that you never quite know what Manchester United is going to turn up. Especially, I mean, look, it was a completely different team first half to second half. Obviously, that's because they obviously scored and we needed a reaction, as you say, 19 seconds or whatever it was. And it shows how simple football is. One ball over the top, pass it across, score. You know, I know it doesn't work every time, but the fact that we are at that stage and we do hit, you know, we know there's going to be peaks and troughs, but again, it comes down to consistency, Kev, that we need to almost know that every week our players are going to perform at 6 and 7s, not turn up for 45 minutes and play at 3s and 4s, right? Because, you know, you play a better team in that first half, and you know, you're lucky that Villa were as bad as we were and as boring as we were, because any better team takes advantage and they're, you know, 2-3-0 up. It was lucky for us they didn't actually create anything, just the same as we didn't really, right?
Yeah, and that was, in a nutshell, the football under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We used to say it so many times on here, you know, Moments FC, one half FC. Manchester United used to do that all the time. You know, we come out non-existent in the first half. We have to fall behind. Second half, we come out, we get a reaction. Bit like Spurs this season. You know, you watch them. You speak to any Spurs fan, they will tell you they are getting one half of football from their team. It's just lucky for them at the minute. It tends to be the second half of games when they seem to peak. And again, they have to fall behind to get a reaction. But at the same time, under Erik Ten Hag, you have to look. And I know Brendan Rodgers always says it, doesn't he? Great character, shows great character. It does show character. To fall behind like that, it would have been very easy with the team that we had out to kind of, you know, go into the shell. Obviously, Aston Villa had loads of fans making loads of noise at Old Trafford. And again, 19 seconds. I mean, that is straight from the kickoff. That's almost like, let's sort this out here. We need to get back into this game. And it's a good trait of a team. You listen, against the better teams, like you say, we've fallen behind at Manchester City and there's no coming back from that. And against a better team, again, there will be bigger challenges to come. But you have to respond to these goals. And we've done that today. Yeah. And it was good to see. Good to see.
Yeah, definitely. Adam Lowney, thanks for the super chat. But we'll move on now to the handball, let's say, or the not handball, because VAR isn't used. And I didn't know that VAR is not used in the Carabao Cup competition.
I didn't know that until this evening.
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if there's an actual reason for that, but yeah, they obviously went on and scored, and there was I think Fred, again, come back to Fred. I think he tried to play the pass or something, didn't he? And I'm trying to think now, trying to think if it actually was handball. I'm not sure if it was, but it's definitely something that VAR would have looked at. But in your eyes, was it a handball, or should it have been ruled off if VAR was active?
I'm not saying it with red tinted specs. I think it's a clear handball. And I think if VAR is being used and it's a Premier League game, they're pulling that back. On Fred, like you say, he tries to play a pass. The thing that infuriated me is Fred's appeal, where he's lost a couple of seconds because he's thrown both arms up in the air and he's looking at the referee, where I would be saying, you've just misplaced a pass. Continue with the game. You can close the player down, even if you have to foul him, take one for the team, whatever.
That's usually what happens, isn't it?
That's
the usual thing. You get frustrated and then you foul them. That's what you usually see.
Exactly. But then you break up an attack, which they've scored from. If they're looking back, if this was last Sunday at Villa Park and they are looking back on that VAR, that he is controlling that ball with his arm. That is... Yes, it might be a natural position of the arm, but the ball hits his arm and plays the ball into play. It's almost like controlling the ball with your arm. So when I seen that, I'm thinking that is a clear handball. And there was a few decisions this evening where I know we all carry on a bit about VAR and say it's infuriating. I want to go back to that, but you look at the one on Martinez. Was it Bailey who kicks out at him, studs him? And then
I think he even punched him in the back as well.
I was going to say, he throws, a few haymakers at him. And I'm thinking, whoa. And again, because we're so used to VAR now, I'm kind of watching it and going, he's going to get sent off. And I'm like, oh no, they haven't got VAR. Yeah, so you're thinking, unless the linesman's seen it or unless the referee's seen it, he's not getting sent off here. And he should have been. He really should have been for that.
Yeah, to be fair, those incidents... Sometimes you actually see like a couple of days later is, because it's almost an off the ball thing and it's a kind of punch and a kick afterwards, sometimes you see that, Leon Bailey has been suspended for 3 matches or something. I'm not sure if anything will kind of come of that, but yeah, it was strange to find out that, VAR isn't used, but Isaac, thank you for the super chat, buddy. But Martial scores again. Obviously, a goal's a goal, but it was a tap in. But how important do you think, take away the goal? I think you can see a big difference from what Martial does add to the team. I don't think he had a great game by any stretch of the imaginations, but how important do you think Martial is and can be, if he does manage to stay fit?
I think he can be really important. I mean, I was so gutted at the start of the season when he got injured, because you look at the pre-season that like Tony Marshall had at Manchester United, he was brilliant. And again, I know people will say you can't read into the result against Liverpool in pre-season. I don't look at the result. I'm looking at the performance of individuals and players, and I'm thinking, Martial here, he's had a brilliant pre-season. Hopefully he can hit the ground running. And lo and behold, the same kind of niggly injuries that he always seems to get. And it has hampered his Manchester United career. It's brilliant. It's brilliant to see him in the starting 11 today. It's great to see him get a goal. There are people, I've seen him on Twitter today, and I suppose the question is, and people are throwing out, is, do Manchester United seem to create more chances without Ronaldo in the team? Which I'm kind of looking at and thinking doesn't really make any sense. And I'm thinking maybe it's more down to the fact that a player that was really, really missing at Villa Park on Sunday in Bruno Fernandes, who I thought was brilliant this evening. He's all action. And I said it on Sunday. You know what he's missing from that game, and I'm like looking at it and thinking, we missed that. We missed him so much on Sunday. You get so much from him. I know he can be hit and miss with the passes and that, but he's constantly looking and probing and trying to play them passes. And I thought he was brilliant, really good this evening.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it's one of those things, and I think we did touch on it after the Villa game in the league, where you almost don't know what you're missing till it's gone, right? One of those types of situations. But on Weke, I want to say, says we play better without Ronaldo. Now, I don't want to. Ronaldo wasn't part of the squad today, so we don't want to touch on Ronaldo because we will upset a lot of people. There's no need to go into him. But appreciate the super chat nonetheless. But someone we can talk about, who I thought when he came on played unbelievable, to be fair, is Garnacho. And we've obviously been speaking about him quite a lot, since he did get that start. And we kind of wanted to put it in perspective, whether he did deserve to start some Premier League games, because there is a big difference between the Premier League and who was it? Sheriff, I think he started against, wasn't it? So, but he had a brilliant performance. I think, did he get 2 assists? Definitely, obviously got 1 for McTominay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he did get another one, but either way, he added that relentless, that, he was just running at Ashley Young, and Ashley Young gets taken off, and I'm not sure who gets put at right back of that situation, but he just constantly gets the fullback one-on-one and just goes and goes, and he's just relentless. And it's something that it's a breath of fresh air almost. Do you think now that Garnacho deserves to be at least considered for further Premier League games? I mean, you even look ahead to Sunday. Is it? I mean, now you put yourself in a predicament of you're picking Martial or Ronaldo, and and then Sancho and Anthony. Sancho's ill for 4 weeks, however long it's been, longest cold ever or whatever he's got. Anthony's obviously got an injury, probably not going to see him because he doesn't want to risk it before the World Cup. Okay, fair enough. So then Rashford obviously out on the right, and then Garnacho on the left again.
That performance this evening from Garnacho, I mean, 2 words: game changer. Absolute game changer. That was 3 words, but take the first 2 words. Game changer, right?
There's 2 words involved in the 3 words.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. He was. I went to the Youth Cup final last season, and that was the first time I had the pleasure of seeing him in the flesh. I'm sat there with my son, and I'm watching this lad. He obviously scored, was it 2 goals in that game? And he was head and shoulders above any other player on that pitch. He stood out. And I'm thinking, I'm going away from that game, and I'm like, he is ready to be unleashed. And I'm talking Premier League, first team football at Manchester United. He is ready. And the great thing about Garnacho is the unpredictability. You see so many players these days that have raw talent just coached out of them. When you look back at a player like Michael Owen, World Cup 98, get the head down, run. And it was all about pace, the unpredictability. You didn't know what they were going to do. Whereas so many players these days, it's get the ball down, get to the byline, don't cross it, cut back, and the chance has gone. What you had with Garnacho this evening was every time that ball was taken down, and he's a sensational footballer, he will go far, was this fact that he had a willingness to get bums off the seat at Old Trafford and get his head down and run. And they were absolutely terrified of him this evening. They did not know what had hit them. As if he played at Villa Park, but this was totally, totally different this evening. This was throwbacks to Cristiano Ronaldo making his debut for Bolton, back in 2003, a game that I was at. It gives me the kind of Ryan Giggs vibes. I'm looking and thinking a young Ryan Giggs. That's how highly I can speak of him at the minute. I hate building players up too much, but I can only go off what I've seen. He is a young lad. He seems to have his head screwed on. He loves being at Manchester United, which is absolutely great. And from everything that he did this evening, the ball for McTominay, I mean, that is just
incredible.
class. That is something of a player of his age to be able to do that. You know, if any other player does that, a De Bruyne, you know, they're lauded, you know, it's unbelievable. You know, he put it on a plate. It's world class. It's out of this world. And Garnacho, if he keeps at that, and I'm sure he will, he's going to be sensational. And that is a huge, huge positive from this evening, is the fact, again, that Manchester United look like they're producing another absolute gem. And it's great. You cannot beat getting a player coming through the academy like that. It's great.
Yeah, I think he's slowly almost coming to terms with that. He does have he's slowly learning that he does actually have a chance in being a mainstay in this first team, and he's grabbing it with both hands, to be fair. But Massacre Promotions says, thoughts on Iqbal, Pelistri and Shoretire, all separately, please. Why has Donny been linked to QPR? I haven't actually heard about Donny being linked to QPR. That would, talk about steps down. He could definitely play for a mid-table Prem side. I think he could go to like a Newcastle and probably be, pretty good in that sense, maybe like a West Ham type. But Iqbal, Pelistri and Shoretire, to be fair, Pelistri looks like he wants to go in January, in all honesty, from what I've seen. And Shoretire, I think, we've seen him a couple of times, but again, he's been playing a lot of the under-21s football, I think. And Iqbal, I think, I was surprised he didn't get a shout tonight, to be fair. Would have been nice to see him, in all honesty. But Brodemon says, if Ronaldo was ill, I'm the Tooth Fairy. This, obviously there's the World Cup coming up. There'll be a lot of random kind of illnesses and injuries coming up. But United 95, after World Cup, we're going on a title charge.
That's the spirit.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down. But there's 14 minutes left of the show. So guys, feel free to get your questions in, whatever it may be, whatever wacky questions you want to ask. We've got one in here from Muzi saying, when will we get Welbeck back? I feel like this is one for Ricky, this one. I think if Ricky was here, honestly, he would take Welbeck, wouldn't he? Like, he genuinely would have Welbeck back at United.
Did he score last night, did he?
He scored a penalty, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, bring him back. Ricky's right. Ricky is right all the time. It just, the thing with Ricky is he comes out with these things that everybody thinks are absolutely mental. And then over time, it just sort of irons out and people go, Ricky was right. Juan Mata, Matic, Martial's now back in the team. And yeah, of course, like you say, it's...
but he did also like Dan James, I think.
Well, yeah. He'd still have him back. He would tell you that as well. He would have him back in this team.
What's the saying? Is it die on your shield or something, isn't it? He's very much, one of them guys that he won't back down. He's stubborn. Ricky, yeah. And it's, you can't lose that way, can you really? So Dark Knight says here, Charlie is McTominay's brother, who agrees. I don't actually see it, like I've had it. I actually got it a lot more when I had even more of a baby face when I was a little bit younger. But yeah, I've had a few shouts. I've had the Martin Odegaard shout. That was one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think the Odegaard one is, yeah. It's sometimes even people say I look like Donny van der Beek, but yeah, there's a few. But
let's not get started on my lookalikes because I get very, very angry. So
yeah,
we'll move on to this part of the
that's a different video. Yeah. Dragon of the West says, what's your thoughts on Man City? Are they unstoppable? We can kind of attack this from a Manchester United point of view. When we played them, they seemed unstoppable. But look, they're definitely not. Right, like Fulham took them the whole way last week, I think it was. So there's definitely chances to get at them and exploit them. But Kev, what do you think is the when we have to play City again next year? What's the angle of attack? What do we do? Obviously, Casemiro didn't start. he'll obviously be a main starter. Maybe some January signings possibly come in and help the squad. I keep saying it because I just want to speak it into existence. But yeah, what would be the go-to to go and get a result? I want to say.
I think we're probably clutching at straws here, are we? A little bit. I mean,
I think so.
Manchester City. I mean, what they did to us was disgusting. It was an absolute violation. It made me feel a bit sick. They can kind of just turn it on whenever they wanted to. I thought they absolutely embarrassed us that day. And there was some United fans that were, oh, well, we scored 3 goals against them. You can get at
We
them.
won the second half.
Yeah, we won the second half. I'm like, for me, Manchester City will win the league this season. And I understand there's Arsenal fans getting excited. City have been there and done it. They've done it a couple of seasons with this so-called false number 9. They've now brought in the best number 9 in world football, who has literally hit the ground running, cannot stop scoring, got a bit of a niggly injury. We're coming up to a World Cup now, which comes at a great time for Erling Haaland because he gets a rest because obviously Norway aren't at the World Cup and he'll be fit, ready, firing to go for the second half of the season. And I can't see anything other than Manchester City winning it.
Yeah, I think in all honesty, Erling Haaland for the month that he has off is just going to be in the 18-yard box, just pelting balls at a poor goalkeeper, like a poor Man City's 18-year-old goalkeeper, just making his shooting just like unbelievable for when everyone's back.
Oh, yeah.
John Hart says, "How old were you, Charlie, during France '98?" I would have been 1 year old. What about you, Kev? How old would you have been for France?
I know
98?
exactly. I was 16 because it was the year that I left secondary school. I remember going to a pub to watch it, and I got served as well. Yeah, France '98. They were the days.
Yeah, they were the days.
Fake ID and all that.
1 year old.
Yeah.
Yoshimo with the super chat. Is there any memorable Donny van der Beek moments in the 57 games? I mean, he scored on his debut, didn't he? I can't remember who that was against, but that's a memorable moment. I mean, I'm sure there's
Charlie. I'd love to throw in. Was it the game against Watford? But I'm sure we got smashed 4-1. I'm not saying it was Donny van der Beek's fault, but did he come on in that game? And he just kind of started opening up passes, and we looked a total different team with him. That's the one game I looked and I thought, this is what he's all about. We've been waiting for this. But again, we got beat 4-1, so you think, well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's odd. Like, it's so hard to try and like explain or delve into because I think, he can go patches where he plays these little triangles and 1-2 passes and he just looks so good. And then he can just not touch a ball for another 30 minutes. And that's obviously not what you want. Halur says, what do you think about Dubravka? Kev, what do you think about Dubravka?
I'll say I was looking forward to seeing him this evening. I will say one thing. The first goal, when I seen the kind of replay of it, I thought, looks a bit dodgy, this, and then I'm like, am I just kind of spoiled by, as a kid, watching Peter Schmeichel come out and jump like a starfish? Eyes on the guy or the ball, eyes on whoever's hunting him down, spreading himself, coming out, and saving that. And I look at the replay from this evening of the first goal, and he kind of turns away and closes his eyes. And I was like, not a great, when you're coming out as a goalkeeper and you try to close the angle down. I know he's dinked it over him, but again, I think maybe I'm being too highly critical. And maybe because we have a great keeper in David De Gea, who, again, I do not think would have jumped to that side and closed his eyes. But yeah, I don't want to be too critical, but that was my overall kind of thoughts on him. All right with the ball at his feet. Yeah,
I did. I did a little predicted 11 on TikTok actually, and I did say that, or I did predict that he was going to play. I didn't think he actually was. It was just kind of like what I wanted to see it. I was surprised, to be fair, but I'm glad he did. I don't imagine he'll feature in too many other games, to be honest. Zayn Mayasi, Zayn,
Here
man.
he is.
I read it before I put it up on screen, but he says you have to win this as it's the only cup you can win this season. You rely on counter attack, unlike Arsenal, which plays tiki tacky football. That's different.
Oh,
not even tiki taka. It's tiki tacky.
Tiki tacky.
Cheers, Zane. Cheers, man. We'll yeah. The Carabao Cup isn't one for you, and we did beat you in the league. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. A lot of people coming in saying De Gea would have saved that. I mean, we'll actually never know because time travel doesn't exist. I feel like it's look. You know what's mad is I've literally mentioned Ronaldo for 10 seconds of this 55 minutes we've been going, and people are just in the comments talking about Ronaldo, like as if we've done a whole segment on it. It's honestly baffling. It is so baffling. But Upal says Hannibal a better option than Donny and Fred, and this is what I mean. Whether it's Hannibal, whether it's Iqbal, surely it's worth just giving. Well, you know, there's a time and a place, right? But in a game like today, I would have liked to have seen a Iqbal, especially, be given, you know, a feature. I'm not sure what you think, Kev.
Yeah, I was at the under-21 game last Saturday, was it? When United got absolutely smashed by Man City 6-1. What a weekend. We got beat 6-1 in the under-21s, and then the day after we get beat by Aston Villa. That was a bad weekend. It was a bad weekend. But he played in that game in midfield. Another player that, from a United perspective, when I looked at and I thought, obviously I've seen him in the first team for United, Europa League and that, but another player that you look at and if you think there's something about him, unpredictable. He's not one of these kind of robot players, you know, McTominay, give it left, right, let's build up the passing stats and that. He looks like somebody who wants to try and influence the game and make things happen. And I like that in a footballer. You know, so be it, you misplace a few passes. As long as you're being positive, you're looking to move the ball forward and looking to actually do something. I like that. And he definitely stood out for me last. And that's in a 6-1 defeat. I think it was 1-1 at half time. And then City, just typical City, you know, it seems to run through the whole club. I mean, I'm telling my son, I said, do you want to come and watch the under-21s? It's free. He was like, yeah. So I'm like, this is the future of the club, this. Do you know what I mean? I said, I'm going to take you along when you're a bit older. You know, some of these players might be in the first team. Then he was, after it, he's like, I thought you said this was, you know, the future. And I was like, yeah, it is. Man City just winning everything and beating us in every single derby. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate position to be in, man. Man City, what a shit place. I hate it. But I'm actually going to me and Adam are going to the 21s game tomorrow. Actually, we have Monaco, I believe. So yeah, it'll be good fun. A lot of people just agreeing with me, saying we slapped up Arsenal, so I don't want to hear anything from these clowns. Yeah, a good take, to be fair. But one question I want to put to you, Kev, is we saw the return of Lindelof and Maguire. What did you turning your nose up? What did you? I mean, look, I just think that there's countless times I see when Maguire plays, he just jumps into to tackles that you can see on the TV he's not going to win. Which then obviously obviously either the ball is taken past him or he just fouls. Like there was one on Ollie Watkins where he just fouled him, gets a booking. It's just like he's like 3 seconds too late, and it's just night and day between, you know, you compare them two to obviously Varane and Martinez. It's like you know, as you say, you talk about being spoiled. I just feel like it's chalk and cheese between the, you know, the both pairs.
Lindelof is all right as long as he has a kind of a Martinez or somebody next to him to actually talk him through the game. It's almost like stay in your lane. Lindelof on the ball is all right. As an all-round defender, don't get me wrong, he's nowhere near that team. And you're right to say Martinez and Varane, I mean, hopefully Varane can work through this injury and get back as soon as possible, because Manchester United need him. I know obviously France need him as well, but them two as a centre-back pairing at Manchester United, Lindelof and Maguire are getting nowhere near this Manchester United team. They are bit part players. Maguire this evening should have been sent off, and I'm saying that as a Manchester United fan. The guy was on a yellow card, committed a cynical kind of foul towards the end, which for me was a yellow card. He should have been given a red card, and call it English bias, call it whatever. Maybe the referees looked and thought, oh, it's Harry Maguire, you know, he's the captain of United and all that. He's been called up for England, and which again is another debate for another day. I do not understand how that man is getting the phone call to be part of Gareth Southgate's 26-man squad or whatever it is to go. It goes against everything, you know. I don't know. Again, that is a debate for another day, when the likes of Calvin Phillips, who hasn't started a single Premier League game, can get in, Harry Maguire, you know, and you look and you think, it's just your mates, you know, it's just your mates that you're taking away with you. It's not coming down to performance.
Nice little holiday.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so Troy Deeney's going to be sat now, you know, watching that, who I think thoroughly deserve to be on the aeroplane flying over to Qatar. But oh well, we'll see how the Man United boys get on. The likes of Luke Shaw and the thing is, you mentioned this evening, Harry Maguire's had a tough game. People can try and defend him and say, bit rusty, he's not played that much. He's being taken to the World Cup, for Christ's sake. This is the pinnacle of any footballer's career. This is the top players for each country. So when it comes down to it, if England do progress and they make it through to the latter stages and they come up against the likes of a France, a Brazil, whoever it might be, in Argentina, I fear for him. I really do. I really do fear for him.
You do, obviously, when you see the squads announced, you obviously do comparisons. And yeah, there's some very, very strong sides. Lucas says here, would you say that Maguire only gives the ball to the next man or plays a diagonal? He did play a lot of diagonal passes today, to be fair.
Charlie, can I just say something really quick? I said Troy Deeney then, and I meant Ivan Toney before. I'm getting absolutely slated. In fact, I meant Troy Deeney. Troy Deeney is making a comeback, and he should be in the England squad. I'm going to stand by that.
I thought I heard you wrong, so I just did. Yeah. I just didn't even. I was like, did he have Troy Deeney there?
This is what Kev does. You see, you know what I mean? I'm sticking. No, Troy. There's click that up. Troy Deeney should be going to the World Cup. Thanks everyone for picking me up on that. It is late. It is.
But last super chat before we head off from Yoshimo. Maguire couldn't defend today. Got left for dead so many times. Free-headed directly at the keeper. Misplaced passes, turning over possession. Yeah, I mean, Maguire's Maguire, and he will not ever stop Maguiring. I don't know. I've lost hope for the poor guy. But yeah, we're going to wrap the show up there, guys. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all the super chats. Flew by a good hour of talking Manchester United. Always good to get a win and talk about it. I don't want to feel any more of those horrible losses like Villa at the weekend. But you know what? It almost feels like we're just going to play Villa again on Sunday. Why not? Let's play them 3 times in 1 week. Might as well. But yeah, Fulham on Sunday. Not sure on the time of kickoff, but obviously there will be a fan forum. Beth will be hosting that one. But Kev, appreciate obviously joining me today. Just the dynamic duo.
Yeah, just the two of us. I enjoyed that. The ant and deck of the United stand, really good. And I've got the phone out here. I'm gonna straight onto Twitter now, and I'm gonna try and get hashtag Troy Deeney for England trending. See if I can give this one a whirl.
Yeah, you know it's gone 11 o'clock when Troy Deeney. You start talking about Troy Deeney for England, but
oh God.
Bloody hell! Let's get to bed, shall we? Appreciate everyone. Leave a like, subscribe, and Troy Deeney is going to Qatar.